Hello there everyone, it's Aaron here, and the new PlayStation Plus. It's been out in the US for the best part of a week now, offering up hundreds of games across all 5 PlayStation generations. For one monthly price, players can dip into the latest and greatest AAA releases, or delve into some childhood classics. But we've all been there, scrolling through our favourite streaming services with so many choices that we simply can't make one. Luckily, I've been perusing the PS Plus premium libraries this week, and I've narrowed it down for you. This video will break down 10 of the best games on PS Plus that you should be checking out. And the way that I've split it all up is to allow 2 games from each of the mainline PlayStation generations, so 2 PlayStation 1 games, 2 PlayStation 2 games, 2 PlayStation 3, you get the point. Of course, let us know what you've been checking out as part of the service down below, and let's get into it. Starting off from the very beginning, we have Resident Evil Director's Cut. The Resi franchise is alive and kicking to this day with gorgeously grisly graphics and brand new first person and third person perspectives, but sometimes the original is best. The Resident Evil Director's Cut will have you stressing over its fixed camera angles and slow paced gameplay. And to add to that value, you'll have noticed that Director's Cut tag, meaning that you'll have access to a host of small little changes for those of you that were maybe a little bit too familiar with the original game. The Arrange mode switches up item locations and even camera angles, and if you aren't the best at survival horror games, you'll have access to the Beginner's mode, which ups health, weapon power and ammunition. See how it all began with Resident Evil Director's Cut. We all love a good brawler, and while Mortal Kombat 11 is available on this service, there's something about the naff retro style of Tekken 2 that just begs to be included in this list. With its gloriously long intro, Tekken 2 is one of the best examples of the PlayStation upscaling, and despite being a port of a game that came out in arcades 27 years ago, it controls surprisingly well. You'll be able to jump right into the action and relive those arcade or PS1 days with a friend in some brilliant couch co-op fun. It might seem simple to start, but there is a mastery behind each of its characters, which can lead to hours upon hours of fun as you rack up those KOs. And Tekken 2 is one of those games that you can just stick on for 15 minutes or an hour. Lose yourself in full tilt 90s vibes for less than a gigabyte on your SSD. Kicking off the PS2 generation with a bit of a cheat here, but I really couldn't decide between them. Before going on to helm some of the best third-person action games on PS3 and 4, Naughty Dog was at the helm of some of the best third-person action games on PS2. The Jak and Daxter trilogy is one of the meatier offerings from the classic games list, with each title offering up around 6 to 15 hours of story to work through. That's split up by Jak and Daxter the Precursor Legacy, Jak 2 and Jak 3. You can really see the hallmarks of the Naughty Dog formula in these games as you work through more platforming, puzzles and gun-based combat, and with each new entry more refined graphics and controls, which really were among the best in class at the time. If you're looking for something a tad more expansive and open than other Naughty Dog titles like Crash Bandicoot, then the Jak and Daxter trilogy is a great place to start. Now this is a game I played tons of back in the day. Star Wars Jedi Starfighter is a sequel to Starfighter and actually takes place prior to and during the events of Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. You'll have plenty of missions to work your way through, which visit various planets from the series, but this game is actually really good for expanding the horizons of the Star Wars universe with its own story that's still tied to the main series. With full 1080p up-rendering, Jedi Starfighter has some great aerial controls, a nice variety to missions, dual player and co-op options, and the added Star Wars spice of force powers during flight combat. This for me is honestly the most exciting pick out of all the classic games before we move on to... Arriving on the lands of the PS3, please keep in mind that these titles are only available via cloud streaming and not download. I love a good racer, but honestly there are very few games out there that have made me feel quite as cool as Split Second. This PS3 title takes a hyperactive racing competition and pits it in made-for-TV towns which are eagerly awaiting to explode. This brutal racer will have you running other cars off the road, triggering fiery and crumbling events which will ultimately change the course of each lap. Whether it be landing planes, an exploding tower, or a cruise ship on the loose, Split Second is the purest form of white-knuckle racing as you survive by the skin of your teeth. It's super fun, super cinematic, great for some couch co-op, and even better in 8-player online races. I know, another Star Wars entry. I actually had no intention to double up on the same series, but this one was added to the service after the launch day, and once I spotted it, I just couldn't ignore it. Both the original and its sequel are both on the service, but I opted for the original in this list. The Force Unleashed gives us our greatest look at Vader in the years between episode 3 and 4. Well, I suppose before the Obi-Wan Kenobi show was a thing. Here you play as Vader's apprentice Starkiller, who's in the midst of the Dark Lord scheming to overthrow the Emperor. You'll be bouncing in between a bunch of characters and locales from the movies, where you get to unleash some of those dark side force powers. The gameplay is a lot of fun, but it's actually the choice-based ending that'll have this one sticking with you. This is the full whack Ultimate Sith Edition as well, so you'll get all of that DLC along with it. That's it for the PS1, 2 and 3 generations, meaning that everything there is included in PS Plus Premium tier. From here on out, as we move on to PS4 and 5, these games are available via PS Plus Extra and Premium. One of the all-time best games on PS4 is available via Extra, and if you somehow haven't played this game, I cannot recommend it enough. The predecessor, Red Dead Redemption, almost took a spot for the PS3 section of this list, but with incredible graphics, what I would say is actually a better story and characters, and Rockstar's best game to date, Red Dead 2 just had to be here. With an expansive campaign, you'll feel the Noose Titan as the cowboy way of life is coming to an end. Fill in some of the gaps in what is actually a prequel by exploring an incredibly well-realised setting filled with backwater towns, open fields and smoky cities. Oh, and Arthur Morgan, he has some serious potential to be one of the greatest characters in the medium, with a superb performance from Roger Clark. Another collection of games rather than just one entry, because why not? The 3 Bioshock games are some of the best titles to bless the PS3 generation, but those PS4 remasters give them a little graphical and frame rate boost to bring them up to par with most modern titles. Interestingly, the Bioshock collection, which is home to all 3 games, isn't included in PS Plus Extra, but the 3 individual remasters are. Not sure what the thinking is behind that, but nonetheless, you have 3 cracking games here to check out with your subscription. From the depths of Rapture to the heights of Columbia, this series is jam-packed with a stylistic flair and finds a perfect balance between horror and action with a steampunk aesthetic. You'll be drawn in by the setting and stay for the twisting sci-fi stories. One of the launch titles for the PS5, Demon's Souls really is a showcase for the graphical power of this current gen console. This remake manages to keep the feel and overall tone of the original 2009 classic, but infuses it with some mind-numbing details as you explore each of its haunting worlds. Now with super quick loading times, you can finally die again and be back into the action in no time at all. Further your immersion, Demon's Souls also has some excellent haptic feedback integration, meaning you can feel everything from the rumbling roar of a dragon to the clang of your sword hitting off a stone castle wall. Demon's Souls is also still pretty expensive, so picking up a month of extra would work out a lot cheaper, even at second-hand prices. A personal favourite of mine, Returnal is an entrancing shooter that reels you into the dark world of Atropos. Playing as Celine, you are stuck in a deadly loop, where death sets you back to the very beginning. That means you must master your arsenal of weapons and movement itself as you find a more powerful build to take on some intimidating and colourful foes. Returnal genuinely has some of the best bosses I've seen in a long time, and with its incredible soundtrack, immersive haptic feedback, and darkly detailed graphics, this is one of the first games for me that truly felt next gen. And it also has Doom levels of gameplay speed, meaning you'll be gripping that DualSense with your eyes wired to the screen. And that's it for my top 10 picks available across each generation on the brand new PS Plus. Let me know which of these games you plan on checking out and which ones you think others should try that I maybe didn't mention here. And remember, while you're here, leave a like, that really helps the channel grow, as does subscribing to the channel, which will bring you everything from PS Plus updates to 4K gameplay and everything else PlayStation related. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.